broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah. Oh, yes. There we go. Look at that. Sweet sounds of those bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Well, I'll tell you what they're gonna do right now. We're gonna talk about the Angie Tribeca shows here on AfterBuzz TV. Welcome, everybody. Hey. Look at that. Yes, another hot 2 episodes that we're gonna be breaking down on AfterBuzz TV here, dealing with Angie Tribeca. I'm your host. We're joined by we got the whole squad here today.
What's up?
Ready to break down. Yeah, we're gonna break down some episodes here. Starting off with intros, I'm Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. Next, we've got Nikki Preston.
You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Nikki Preston TV and Instagram at Nikki.Preston.
Michael Clous on Instagram at TheOnlyMC, on Twitter at Michael Clous TV.
And you can find me everywhere at NadineDP3.
That's right, folks. Now, like us on Facebook and iTunes there. Check us out on SoundCloud, all that stuff. We got a lot of great shows here on AfterBuzz, not just Angie Tribeca, but that's what we're going to be dealing with today. So join us in on the chat room as well if you want to get in on the conversation. And we're going to be breaking down, as always, 2 episodes of Angie Tribeca.
Halfway
through. Halfway through the season, guys.
As of tonight, will be more than halfway through.
Where's the time gone?
Crazy when you're having fun.
That's right.
It's already February 1st today, so we're asking ourselves a lot of questions of where is the time gone.
Yeah, right.
So we're going to kick it off with the first episode we're breaking down today. Episode 5, Commissioner Bigfish. Look at that, folks. There they go. Well, it's I love this. It starts off in a nice bar where we're going to see Giles in his sweet little tank top there.
He was so cute. Oh my gosh, I loved it. The fishnet top and the cut-off jean shorts. Oh, that was adorable. Oh.
Looked good, but I also
really into the part too. I mean, he had the skills down, flipping the bottles.
Yeah.
That's really knew what he was doing.
Yeah, that's what stuck out to me. If you guys have ever been to a bar and you see these bartenders really try, and like you wonder, especially like here in Los Angeles, to be a bartender, you have to be good as Giles kind of is. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a little excessive with the spinning the bottles, but you can't just get a gig out here being a bartender like it's going to be that easy.
Just shows how intense they get.
So he really had to do that. You know.
What's your bartending kind of flair like? Mine is terrible. I mean, I'd love to be able to do like Tom Cruise and Cocktail. I think everybody would love to be able to whip those bottles around that cool. But reality, I would have too many broken bottles around me to ever really get hired.
I think you just got to make the drinks really strong. As long as you make the drinks strong, so everyone's happy, everyone loosens up a little bit.
By the 3rd or 4th one, nobody will care how you're making them as long as they're strong.
Exactly. There you go. So you just have to do good at the beginning of your shift, and then later on, it's whatever. Everyone will be happy. The night goes on.
Maybe just a few tosses. You don't have to flip the bottle a lot, but...
And did you notice too, once he threw the bottles up, they got stuck up on the ceiling, and it was like,
They came down maybe near the end of that scene.
Yes, near the end of the scene. They finally crashed down.
It came back down. But that also brings up, what is too much with bartenders when they do that type of stuff? Is it a little too showy? Is it a little like, or is it just their craft? I don't know.
I think it might be a little showy. They just want to get some tips and some attention, but I think they should just pour the drink, get the drinks out fast.
You just want to get drunk. You just want to get drunk. It's okay.
I just want to get drunk. I want my drink fast. I don't want you throwing bottles around.
So no Giles for you. No Giles.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Well, is that water that you're drinking? Just making sure.
It's clear, so it could be.
Well, the reason we're at the bar is they're trying to figure out. They think there's some hanky-panky going on there.
Sting.
A sting. They're trying to find out if there's some illicit sex being sold out there out of the bar. They check out to they go out to the booty room to find out. Well, no, there's not really bad things happening in the booty room. You're just actually making booties, which I was actually like, oh, all right, that was a nice one. That got me. That one got me.
It did, right? I'm glad that we're finally to that point where we're, getting fooled a little bit. And I mean, obviously we're 5 episodes in, but having that, I thought they were going to be able to find something else or see something else in that room, and they didn't. And like you said, it was a good surprise.
Yeah, I was like, oh, all right, yeah, you stuck with the name. Okay.
You put it right there for us, and we were still tricked.
Yes.
They put the
They
name
didn't
the
find
baby
anything
room.
in that first room.
No, that was it. No,
No.
and
the whole bar.
yeah, and they also Tribeca's feeling like she's not getting any attention there. She's been in the bar, nobody's been paying any attention to her. So Giles says, well, no, you got to get changed, you got to do something different. So she goes up on stage, changes in this little number, and then has to go out and sing her song "Fruit Salad" in E minor.
Oh my goodness.
Anybody's
Lots of
go-to song?
puns.
Yeah,
Lots of puns in there.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just very creative. Obviously, if Tribeca's gonna get up and sing something, she's doing her own original song we haven't heard, and I think the writing was great on that.
And I loved her costume too, right out of the Lost and Found. I mean, that's where we would go. Like when I used to dance or do different things, it was really kind of gross. But if we didn't have shoes or anything, they'd be like, "Oh, here, girls, pick some shoes out of the Lost and Found."
What?
I'm sure you can find gold mines in that.
Exactly,
Though.
you
Sometimes
can.
you never know.
It's gross, but we were kids. But Angie kind of did the same thing with her outfit.
Did it depend on the bar? Like, could you know what you were going to find in the Lost and Found depending on what bar you were at?
Yeah, I knew exactly what I was going to find, but you're right. Well, because this was my dance studio, so it was going to be dance shoes.
Okay.
But you're right. If you go to like the Lost and Found at a bar, God knows
Yeah, I don't
what
think
you're
she's
gonna
speaking about a
find.
bar, but
Oh,
but
okay.
this was good. Yeah, let's just clarify. She was not speaking about a bar. She was relating it to
Ballet bar, but
Well, we even like we've got Deanne Cole hanging out in surveillance truck, which I did like the very subtle sign on the side of it, Surveillance and Sons. So
Surveillance and Sons.
yes.
Yeah, I love that he is like we've talked about on past shows is how he hasn't really been as prominent of a figure until about the last episode when he really was with the SWAT team. And so I love that they start off with him being a part of the sting. This is the first time he's really the three of them are really working together, and you actually see that.
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and finally, the pup.
He's
the
in.
pup gets some recognition, So I think I predicted that very well, that was going to happen eventually. But
He's
yeah,
in 3 or 4 scenes.
yeah, there's a bunch of
Yeah.
scenes we see
episode 5.
later on, and even in one of the scenes, they actually, because that's what I was wondering, if it's going to be a dog that's going to speak or just a normal dog there, but they actually had him wink at one
Yeah.
point. So I loved it. I was like, all right, the dog's doing the wink.
I feel bad though because they're always yelling at him. Like Tanner, anytime he talks to the dog, it's just basically to yell at him.
Yeah, oh, poor Hoffman.
I
I know.
know.
She was save him. Poor babe.
Well, they find nothing right there at that sting there. So then we cut into the opening montage there, and we find out, as always, our running gag here, who's screaming at the through the course of this theme song. We find out again, it's the cop who has stuck his hand to he stapled the paper to his hand as he's trying to staple it there on the wall. So that's the one who's screaming in this episode. We also learn though that it's a special week at the police department. It is Bring Your Kid to Work Week.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
I
Yes.
love it. Would you guys go to Bring Your Child to Work Day? When back in the day?
I never did. Although my dad worked at a prison, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
You
would
might
be,
have nightmares that would traumatize you.
never did it. Did you guys do it? Or?
My dad kind of ran his own business. I mean, I was there frequently, but it wasn't like an official day.
Yeah.
I mean, did kids actually get out of school for that?
Yes, I
Because
do.
that was
Yeah.
the thing.
That was the best. But yeah, my dad worked out of the house. So my mom was a stay-at-home mom. But yeah, I got to stay home, work downstairs with dad for a little, and the rest of the day, just hung out.
So you just stayed home?
I just stayed at home a little. No, but I worked with my dad in the basement. We did some things, but not a lot. I'm a business
it's
guy.
like-
What else can you really do with a sales
Yeah.
guy
Yeah.
and a kid? Like,
True.
It's
Or
like
make
a
some
free day
calls.
off,
Yeah.
I mean, my mom worked at Kodak back in the day, so it was fun because we got to take pictures. They'd have dinosaurs and all these cool, like, green screens and sets in the background, so I always enjoyed
That's
going
exciting.
to But
well, yeah. Well, in the police force here
I
on the
feel
show, they were just demolishing everything inside the station.
Yes,
it
like
was
the,
just horrible.
the kids just tossing
Here's
around
the-
cocaine.
here's the-
Oh yeah, like anything they wanted, they were doing. They
Here's
were
the thing.
breaking it all.
Forget Bring Your Kid to Work Day as like a kid going to police station. I would love to just like spend a day in a police station doing what they were doing.
As an
Getting
adult.
to see the evidence, using some of the weapons.
Yeah.
That'd be a blast.
Just breaking things
Just
everywhere. Just
completely.
that's your life dream is to just
There
go
you go.
demolish a police station.
It would be a
I
blast.
guess so, hey? We can make dreams happen, maybe.
Well, I mean, it was interesting because you finally learned a little bit about the rest of the people that work at the precinct there. Other than Tribeca and Giles, everybody else has a family there.
Yeah.
So the lieutenant's got his son. We've seen Hoffman's got his son.
Yeah.
His little pup right there.
Yeah, that was the cute part.
Oh,
So you
my
see Tanner as an
goodness.
8-year-old, and then Hoffman
Yes.
also has his little puppy too. It was I love it. I love that Tanner and Hoffman are getting more recognition. It's great.
So yeah, they go and they talk to the lieutenant there, who tells Angie not to get her panties in a bunch. To which then she has her panties in a big
Already
bunch
there.
there in
Of
the back.
course.
Yep, of course.
it's gonna be there. That's the thing now. It's like, are we still laughing at it, even though we know that's gonna happen, or no? like panties in a bunch, and that you're gonna see panties in a bunch. Is that still funny to us, or what are you guys feeling based off that?
I just feel like they never let any. I mean, you're not going to put something in there if you're not going to do a play on it, and it might not. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm not laughing out loud, but I'm just like, all right, yep, okay, yep, you're sticking with it, yep,
It's a
you're
respect.
doing it, yep.
It's a respect thing, and if they stopped, I feel like it would be like, oh,
why didn't you do it? Okay, yeah. Because they've gone this far with it. We're in episode 5. You can't just halfway through. You can't just stop it now. Okay.
Yeah, but no, I agree. It's not like I'm laughing out loud as much, but I'm just like I'm appreciating it.
There you go. I like that word, appreciating it. Yeah, because I'm not finding it as funny, but I'm just like, oh, that's it's there it is. I agree. I think
it's
the
still
appreciation
witty, it's
for
still
the writing.
clever.
Yeah.
And it's good. I'm glad they're still doing it.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everything is written in that script for a reason. It's not just a throwaway line. Everything has some sort of payoff.
Oh, yeah. And I actually found there is this Steve Carell, he was quoted in Deadline. He said, in regards to the writing, he said, it's tricky and silly, and there's an enormous amount of thought that goes into what works and what doesn't work. So as we've been saying in the past, like, how hard is it to write for this? And he basically says that it's very hard to write this type of comedy. So that's coming right out of his mouth.
Yeah, because I mean, you want something that's going to help keep pushing the story along, but then also has room to be able to be played off in a couple different ways.
Yeah, so even as corny as these jokes may be sometimes, or just over the top, it is hard to create that type of environment, I guess, that comedic vibe. So yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah, especially after if you're doing like 11 episodes a season, and you got to think how many different kind of variations of things you've seen in police precincts, different kind of tropes and stuff like that. By as you're writing like episode 8, 9, 10, you're like, wow, we've already exhausted every kind of expression, every kind of scenario.
There's no repetitive puns.
No,
almost, which is a good thing. I mean, it shows that creativity.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So they find out the lieutenant wants Angie to drop this case. It's like, no, we don't want you to pursue this anymore. And find out that from Giles, he's like, no, Angie, wait, he wants you to let this go. You never let anything go. You've got this goldfish that's been dead on your desk for 2 years, and you haven't let that go.
But I think it's a deeper thing too. Like, we're finding out that Angie really does have a heart. She does care. She just gets hurt easily. So I think that's the whole symbol too. Having the goldfish or the fish for 2 years. She loves. She wants to be in love. She wants to find someone. And she starts off hard, it seems like, in the beginning of the episode, and then by the end she kind of, at the end, she seems like she likes kids more. In the beginning she hates them. And
Jay obviously brings that up to her about kids. And I didn't really get a very, I don't want to say like sexual vibe, but a couple vibe that he was trying to bring it up for that reason. I mean, obviously I feel like it was there a little bit, but it wasn't a major, he was bringing that up specifically so that it would be a lead-in to them getting together.
See, I found that completely different. I found it was just more of a friendly question, really? You don't want kids? Not as a...
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh, that's what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't find it.
You didn't find it, gotcha. Yes. Okay, I agree then. I don't disagree with you. I agree with you.
And other than unlike past episodes where it's been some kind of deep-rooted kind of personal trauma in their pasts, this is just, while she's not a big fan of kids, it's not like some kind of deep encompassing kind of something that happened in her past that kind of gave her these feelings that she needs to kind of overcome and address by the end of the episode. Same thing for this one and episode 6. They weren't big, deep backstories that kind of tied in with our characters. Just kind of some
Well, this one was more the lieutenant was the one who had the connection. In this case, it seems like they always have some type of connection. It may not be as deep as some of the other ones, but there's always some connection.
Yeah, so...
Scandal.
There you go. Yes, that's right.
Lots of scandal going on.
So Giles goes undercover for at the rich lonely business guys conference there. Yes, and meets Amy Smart. Yes.
Yeah, a couple of cameos in this one.
Yeah,
she is the first.
Yeah, finds Amy Smart there, and they go on a little as they try to break down what she can offer him, and they have to go find someplace private that they can talk.
Yeah, they went to a funeral, they went to a library, and then they
was that funeral? Was that the
it was
church
a funeral
one?
at the church. Yeah, a library, and then
a monastery.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they end up where they end up in a cop station in your dream. They end up where you want to go.
I did like the end. I can't believe I spent a whole montage with you.
That's incredible because it just really does. It touches there's so many corny montages in television and movies that happen. So I love that they finally were able to get that little joke in as well because it's huge. Even in cop shows as well, we see it all the time.
Yeah.
Montages about what they were doing during the day to try and discover it, etc. So, yeah.
Yeah, so from her, they find out where this hotel is. That's all these things are happening, and so with the code words I'm here to pay for sex. That's supposed to be your little password. To let them know that you're in.
All the way in.
Yep, I love the name of the hotel.
See, everything, every little
Yes.
thing, like we've been saying, they do stick with the theme, you know? The names, the places, it's just, you know, it works.
And of course, they clean the room. They get the cleaning lady to come in, so they don't have any evidence, any proof, for the most part, besides the wall.
That's the thing, though, like, that's like about hotels. Would you want someone to blacklight your hotel room before you go into it, or you just not want to know what's really happening?
It's better not to know. I
Is
think
it?
it's better not to know.
You try not to think about it.
Right? So you just go in, you don't want someone to blacklight, see all these. How many people have stayed in that room before you, you know?
You would never go to a hotel again.
No.
You cannot. You don't want to blacklight
Was
it.
it a while, or was it last year or 2 years ago when they had bed bugs was a big thing in
Yes.
hotel
a big
rooms?
epidemic.
And that,
epidemic.
you know, because they travel in luggage, they get everywhere.
All right, enough
Nope.
bed bugs.
Nope.
Enough bed
No,
bugs.
you
I
don't
can't.
want that.
Coincidentally,
That creeps me out too much.
this tied me back to a few episodes ago with the, not a detective, but she was like an analyst or whatever, where she, any prints, no, I cleaned them all off. And she was the one who allowed the maid to completely clean the room.
Yeah.
So I found that same tie-in of she's just fine with, like, letting things
Letting
be clean.
things just,
Yeah.
letting it just happen.
Doesn't care.
But I need more shampoo and conditioner.
That's right. And they
Do
find the
you
big.
sneak? Do you sneak?
Oh, I do. Shampoo, conditioner, or soap, anything.
Yeah, I mean they're providing it for you. They're so yeah. I mean
it's included in the cost of the room.
Exactly.
yeah. Also robes. No, it's like
No.
being like Axel and Beverly Hills
There's
Cop.
a
Yes.
limit. There's a limit. Come on.
Ross and Friends.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they wouldn't put that robe in the room if they didn't want you to just take it, right?
And the fuzzy little slippers that go
Yes.
along
So
with
they
it.
don't give those anymore. That's why you
No,
never see those anymore because people
all
take
your
them.
fault.
So
I'm
come
sorry,
on.
guys. I'm sorry, guys. I've got a nice collection of robes though at home.
Please
though.
direct your hate mail to Frank
Yeah.
Moran at AFTERBUZZ.
And they find out the reason that the lieutenant is so gun shy about busting this is that the police commissioner, they spot him coming out of the hotel, which then they go into a really old reference there, like, with him, those Native American roots there, as somebody throws a little trash on the ground in front of him, and he does the old payback from the old '70s Indian commercial where he turns and the tears running down his face. Even Guile says like, "Oh, that's a really old reference."
Yeah, see, that was too old for me. I
was
did
too
not.
old?
I didn't get it.
Yes.
I saw you cracking up
I
when we were
did.
watching
Yeah.
it.
You
and
not
I was
seen that
like,
old commercial?
No, I haven't
I
seen
haven't
it.
either.
Maybe I should. Yeah, we have to.
I was going to ask you about
watch
it.
it.
Yeah, it's just a Native American standing on the side of as all these people are littering out on the roads and stuff, and then he just turns to the camera and just like David Koechner does, just has a tear running down his cheek.
Oh wow, I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to look
so
that
that's
one
a
up.
really, really old reference.
Which is good because
So they put that line.
they're trying to open it up to all audiences.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at that, it's not just like a completely young generation thing. They're throwing in some of those jokes and some people who might have been around when Airplane came out and really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so then they go back and they blacklight the rooms we've been talking about, which I did like the one that's the hashtag orgasm. That's one of the-
Just showing exactly what's on that wall right
Yes.
there.
If we didn't already know what was going on in there.
Where it came from.
But this is the first episode that we've had Scholes there without Edelweiss sitting there. So I felt like it was. I missed Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
It was just not the same. That little scene where they interact with Scholes is just not the same unless we have Edelweiss coming there. There was some kind of ailment that he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so then they figure out, well, the reason that the lieutenant is so reluctant about this, we have this nice flashback, as Nikki was mentioning, so close and personal to the lieutenant. We flash back as he looks in his locket back to the 70s. Some sweet outfits, some sweet hair.
Loved it.
The whole
Yes.
action scene with that is just typical 70s action cop show, though. It
is.
was very on point with how it all is. I mean, one of the theme of Angie Tribeca in general, but I think that really tied into the 70s theme a lot.
Also with the take the picture. Hurry up, take the picture,
Yes.
take the picture.
Yeah.
And even the long bit where he's going to take a bullet for the lieutenant, but then he has to do that long, elaborate gymnastic routine to come and
Oh,
stop
yeah.
that bullet right there at the end.
Oh, well, that's how it is in every cop scene we've seen in the show so far. Is they do all these random acrobats and these 007 moves just to make a one step. So that's sort of, they kept the theme of that too. Their action shots.
Yeah, the one that I was like, no, was when he says, "Oh, I feel so cold." And it's like, "Oh, because this bag of ice is on
Oh,
you." I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It was a stretch.
yeah,
that was a stretch.
Little
That was
stretch.
I
really
didn't like
long.
it. I didn't like that one at
It was a
all.
little stretch.
It just popped out of nowhere. It was just, I don't know. Yeah, that was too much for me. I
was
didn't
a
like
reach,
that one.
I was like, "How did that bag of ice just get there?" That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, it is Angie Tribeca, so this is what we expect, but still, I don't know. Wasn't a fan.
So they figure if they want to stay, so the lieutenant doesn't want to get involved, but he's torn because he made this pledge to his friend that they always have each other's back, but he's also a cop, so he's got to figure out what to do. So they decide they're going to go undercover to try to see if they can catch the police commissioner in the act. And so what I did, like the guy, Giles is all dressed up in his little fishnet there, like and his sailor hat. Like, I thought I was going to be the bait for the police commissioner. He looked good. Yeah,
He looked really
get some
good.
abs on that guy. Hey, yes.
And the little jean shorts. Oh my gosh.
You're
Bruce,
just loving Giles
I
this
was
episode.
loving
Yes.
Giles. This was honestly my favorite episode. I know last week here it is.
Crush on Giles. Move
Okay.
over, Angie.
Here's your choice: Giles or James Franco.
Oh yeah.
Man,
That's a
James
good one.
Franco, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I see, I was gonna say, you
can't,
gotta pick.
know.
But Giles comes showing up at your door wearing the little sailor hat and the little mesh top.
Ooh, it would be tricky, but James
Fishnets.
Franco. I'm
Really?
sorry, I got
Franco.
it. James Franco.
Poor Giles.
Oh,
Always
man.
getting pushed to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The good news, you're number 2. The bad news, number 2 is also last.
That was a great reference.
So Angie goes undercover and finds out that the police commissioner is not there for sex. He is there because he has a baby fetish.
Yeah.
Wants to be an adult baby. And this is actually interesting. It's like a fad. It's like something
yeah.
that's taking over. I've watched a few episodes on television about like the
My Strange
reality.
Addiction?
Yeah, a reality
wow.
series about adult babies. And it's actually like that's the type of thing people do.
All right, let me paint a scenario for you guys, Nadine, Nikki. So you're dating a guy. It's going really great. You've been going out for like 6, 7, 8 months. You guys are really enjoying each other. And then finally, just one night, he decides to really open up and share with himself that he does have a baby fetish. And you guys have been together. It's not like the first date where it's like, oh, I'm at the door. But you've actually kind of developed really real feelings with this guy. And he reveals that to you. He just gets vulnerable, shares that with himself. Do you guys just like take off, head for the hills? Or are you like willing to at least explore the option with him?
I mean, if you're in, it depends. Are you in love with this person? Are you invested? Because I mean, it shouldn't be superficial if you're in love with
You're
someone.
2 months in.
So you're 2 months in. I mean, yeah, you have to assess that. You have to assess where your heart's sort of at with that. Because I believe if you love someone, you love all of them, and maybe maybe take them to see a therapist with them and like all that, and understand what's going on.
Hey, our next
Understand
date-
what's going on that's
our
causing
next
them, and you
date's
can
gonna be
really
to a
understand.
therapist,
No,
honey.
not right, but you know what I mean. Like you understand where they're coming from. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to say no right away. I mean. 2 months is different than 2 years. So
All right, so like
that's what I would say.
So if it's 8, 9 months, you've gotten to the point where you've said I love you to each other.
That's what I'm saying. If you're
Yes.
loving them, if you genuinely love them, then
Yes.
yeah, you deal with it. You don't
All right.
just run. You don't just hide.
I think it depends how far they go. Like, are we talking full baby suit, changing the diapers like Angie had to do, or are we talking about like a little...
So
I don't know.
you're on the couch and he says, "Hold on a sec, I'll be right back." And he walks into the bedroom and he comes out and he just puts on a little bonnet and he's wearing a diaper and he says, "I'm gonna. This is what I'm all about." Do you just like?
I'd be freaked out. I'm not gonna lie, but if I really loved him, I think I would try to work it out. You know, maybe like you said, go
Yeah.
to therapy. I don't know
Yeah.
if fetishes you can really cure those because people kind of develop them. I think from what I was reading during childhood, and it's kind of like.
Yeah, I think you at least have to try it. You have to just
Yeah.
at least see. I mean, I'm not gonna be going and changing people's diapers, doing any of that stuff. No, I'm saying be like, okay, cool. I don't know if I can handle it, but let's try it. Like, you know what I mean? Let's see. If you want to be your baby, then I be a baby. I'm not gonna be a part of it, but here
What
we
if
go.
you're married though? What if he actually waits until you're married and then springs this on you?
I don't
mean,
know. I don't even want to think
next.
about it.
Next.
I can't.
Yes.
It's too much.
Well, it was nice because
Too much.
As much as Angie didn't, she just reluctant to have kids. It was like I wasn't expecting this to just tie in that way, where it's like all of a sudden somebody who doesn't like kids is all of a sudden forced to actually change a baby there. Just treat this adult like a baby and change him and go through all that experience. And it doesn't seem like she really. Well, I mean, not the fact that she's not enjoying because it's a grown man, but just like, oh, I gotta change this baby's diaper.
Yeah.
This is not fun at all. But
No one wants
busts
to do
him.
that.
Yeah.
And of course, we haven't even mentioned who the baby is. Probably the biggest cameo. David Koechner, obviously Anchorman, has
Yes.
a big tie-in
Yeah.
with a lot of Steve Carell. So
There you go. They're
it's
buddies.
not completely surprising that he's in there, but he's a pretty big name.
Yeah. So
He's a pretty big baby.
pretty big baby. Yeah, pretty big baby. So he gets out, and Giles goes on a pursuit with him. They head into an orphanage, and then it goes out to a park where everybody's walking around in their strollers, and he has to go and start trying to figure out where the baby is hiding out in the stroller.
Oh yeah, and then when he finally discovers him, they start fighting with the bottle of milk and a toy, just as
Yes.
babies do. So
Sword sounds.
yeah, it was great. That fight really just came with the whole adult baby feel, even outside.
But
so.
but even with the playoff where we see somebody fighting with the knife, and they get like the guy gets on top and starts to put the knife into you, and then it's just a bottle into his mouth. I thought that was a nice little little play on all that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And he was able to fit into the little stroller, and he pops out, and then it's like big again. And
That was ridiculous.
I like the suspense of where you didn't know which carriage he was in too. So it gets like we were saying earlier. You know, they're developing that point where you don't exactly know what is coming next, and so it keeps you on the edge of your seat a little bit. And I think that's
You like
appreciated.
that? Your heart was racing. You didn't know what one was going to be.
I didn't know which
like, oh,
one
no,
he
not
would be
that
in, and so it keeps you, it keeps you guessing a little
All
more,
right,
which
learned
this
a
show
lot about you
hasn't
tonight.
done.
Yeah.
I like to be kept guessing.
There you go.
Well, because you were thinking like, all right, well, he's like a 6'2", 6'3" man,
Yeah.
and there's no way he could be in her baby stroller, right? No, he is in her baby stroller.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Angie Tribeca.
Angie
anything is
Tribeca.
possible.
That's right. But Jerry Burns, lieutenant, saves the day though. Gets some keys there, distracts him, and then they arrest him.
Which is now the third, well, maybe fourth, I guess, if you count Angie and Tribeca differently. But hero, because obviously the other partner was able to get him with last episode with the
Tanner.
fridge.
Yep.
Tanner was able to get him with the fridge. Angie and Tribeca have each had their moments. Now we have another hero.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
lieutenant comes in, comes actually out in the field with everyone. So when he hasn't been before, he's normally just cooped up in his little office.
Yeah, but it was his friend. He had to, he had to play a part.
Do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do.
Loyalty
Yes.
Yeah.
wins.
So
Yeah, and then although I felt like it was a little forced to me by the end that Angie was so concerned about him. It's like, oh my gosh, is he gonna be okay? Is he gonna make friends while he's in prison? I'm like, I don't know if I thought that was a great payoff for that, but
yeah. I mean, I guess they're playing that off of when you change someone's diapers, you become very intimate and close with someone, so then you start to care about them. But yeah, I didn't like it either. I thought it was over the top.
I think it was more trying to show that she really does like kids. She wants to settle down eventually. She wants kids, but she's just very afraid. And I think maybe one day we'll see her and Giles get together, maybe talk about kids, but he's still the more sensitive one and wants the kids. But maybe we could change her.
yeah, I felt like in this episode and in the one we're going to be talking about in just a second, episode 6, I felt like the romantic possibilities between them weren't something that really were explored. I mean, they were just more like partners in these, which was fine with me. I wasn't feel like I was lacking like, oh, where's that romantic tension? I was still fine with them just being partners and just kind of going off and having adventures together.
And sometimes you can get to know each other best when nothing romantic is forced.
Starts
So-
off as friends.
Yeah, you got to build that foundation.
Yeah, because I mean, we were seeing with Giles last time the whole wedding episode where he just kept saying like basically he wants to marry her, and so maybe he just got hurt so much, got let down that he's just backed off on it completely. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
And at
we
the end
go.
of this episode, too, normally they end together, Angie and Giles, and this time she just ended the episode alone. I think she was at her desk typing or whatever, so I thought that was kind of interesting. It was the first episode where she was alone.
Well, wait, this one ended with David Koechner puking.
He puked, right?
He puked
Yeah.
in the car, and we just see like it was almost like the Pulp Fiction shot where the head gets blown up. It's just like basically Mick just puking all over the windshield.
Too much. Too much.
stuff.
Too much bile for me. I don't like it.
that rascal David Koechner. Yes.
All right, halfway done.
Halfway done.
Halfway done.
That's right. We got episode 6, Ferret Royale.
Yeah.
Guys, hot Ferret Royale.
Did we think though? Sorry to take a break. Halfway done. Thoughts halfway through the season. Good, bad. Do we think it would be progressing more? Do we think there would be more characters?
I think it's great so far. I'm loving how, like I've said in past episodes, how I haven't seen more of different characters like Tanner and Hoffman and whatnot. I felt like they were starting to explore those main 6 characters a lot, giving them a lot more roles and a lot more things to do. I really like it, and you're starting to see them more as a character.
Yeah, I have to keep in mind that it's still only the first season. That we're still only 5 episodes in, and it's a long stretch. I mean, I can only imagine when you're writing a television show like this, how many episodes you're planning for. And it gets back to what we were talking about last week, where at what episode do you plan to kiss? Are you planning that there's going to be a second season? How much do you throw in the first couple episodes? That's something I try to keep in mind when I'm thinking about what could be coming up next episode, and are they going to try this here? I don't know how many seasons that they're planning for and what they will try to throw in at each point.
So it keeps you guessing.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think we've learned by now is like reality is incredibly fluid in this universe. So in terms of people's backstories or history, I mean, I'm sure could be things that could contradict, or it wouldn't make sense if you're trying to logically, rationally kind of plan out how their lives were. Like how did Angie Tribeca end up in Paris, as an art student?
Yeah.
But it's just all part of it's the Angie Tribeca universe.
That's what we're living in. We
Yeah.
step into a different world in this show.
That's
and
right.
we just have to understand it and accept it and just go with it, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Episode 6.
as going to
Episode
6,
6.
yes, which I thought had the most kind of cop-like opening that we've had so far. That felt very much like, all right, the genre that it's kind of playing off of, with the SWAT sting, SWAT attack there on a house, which I did like as the guy opens the door, it's like, hey, you guys want to come in? They still hit him with the police barricade breaker right there. Yep, they just still hit him in the gut. And I did like that, them investigating the house, finding everything that's wrong that you think that they're really would be looking for, but they're not wanting that. So they find a room with drugs, they found a room with counterfeit money, they found a guy locked in the bathroom. I've been here for 6 months. And they're like, no, we don't want this. And they finally find a ferret underneath the floorboards.
Just shows you what the animal rights are more important than human rights right now in society. So I think everybody touched upon that a lot.
And then I didn't realize how much I missed it because we didn't have it last episode. Is that the cops are right there when they find the ferret and it pukes.
The puker.
Yeah, we didn't have him last episode. And I was like, I guess there was that part of me. I was like, what is missing from this episode?
And on IMDb, it says he's only going to be in 6 episodes, so this could be the end. I kind of like him.
He's got one more, right? If it's because was he not in 5?
He wasn't in 5.
So one more then.
Could be in.
What is he billed as?
Puker.
Is Cop that Pukes? Is that his?
I think that's his name. I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
that would be his name. But we did have a puker in episode 5 though. At the end, the adult baby.
That's true. Yes.
So we had a puke
you're right.
in there.
Okay.
So maybe they didn't want to overdo it with the puking. But I mean, I'm fine taking a break.
Yeah, and we find out in California though it is illegal to have ferrets. So. Yeah, I
didn't know that.
No. I think it's the Angie Tribeca universe. Illegal
I
to have
was
ferrets.
gonna say,
I really didn't know that.
Yes.
I forgot. I already said this. They're in the Angie Tribeca world.
Mr. Frank Moran.
You need to keep with it.
Mr. Frank Moran?
Yes, sir.
That is actually a California law.
It is
Downtown.
We just heard in our ear that it is actually a California law.
Mark, how do you know this?
Yeah.
I tried to buy one.
Really?
Ferrets are awesome, dude.
No, but that's really cool. I didn't realize that they were illegal here in California.
Yes, they are.
They're kind of like rats anyways. I
Kind
don't
of,
really
yeah,
see a need
I
for
think
them.
they're considered vermin.
Oh wow! Oh, that's a
There you
shame.
go.
Oh, boy,
So
look at
did
that.
you
Put
stop?
real world in there.
So this is like a Dick Wolf kind of episode, ripped from the headlines.
Yeah.
Ferrets illegal in California. We need to do an episode about this,
About
guys.
ferrets in
Yes.
California.
Breaking news. I wonder what that smuggling really is.
Yeah.
Is this a big deal?
Yeah.
Maybe
look-
a thing. But yeah, so they save the ferret, right?
Yeah, they save the ferret, and then we go into our little opening, and we find out that the screaming this time is happening from a cop stuck in the
Caught in
elevator.
the elevator.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the of all the screaming, I think that's a big one that you really should let out that like huge scream for, is when you're stuck in an elevator like that and the metal doors are just hitting you the whole time.
Have you guys ever been stuck in one? I would be terrified. I mean.
Oh no, that's why I'm saying I would be
be-
screaming like that.
When you're a little kid and like you see it closing.
Closing.
There we go.
You got it.
And like now all of them are censored, so it's not going to close on you. But when you were younger,
Yeah, anything.
that
can
was a
happen.
legitimate fear.
Yeah. Well, that happened to him, so he deserved to scream like that.
That's very true.
So
Tribeca and Giles go. They interrogate the guy that owned that house that they busted in on, and they're trying to get the who gave him this ferret. Where's this coming from? And he ends up getting shot with an arrow, which I did like. One, how did an arrow show up in that interrogation
They didn't
room?
really say at all where it came from,
No.
and
No.
nobody else recognized it. And I was expecting them to do that a little bit. Of there would be a hole in the glass, or they would say,
Yeah.
"Oh, where did this come from?" Or there would be an open window. No.
well, because they didn't even recognize the fact that an arrow even came.
No.
Angie and Giles, they just thought he fell asleep. Giles was like, "Oh, I wish it was that easy for me to fall asleep. I'm tossing and turning when the guy's actually dead in front of you." So.
And I feel like Giles is, I don't know if Angie's just rubbing off on him. I feel like he's being a little bit stronger, a little more aggressive when he's interrogating different people. I don't, maybe it's just my opinion, but
Yeah, and I think
He's
is
a
this
little
the
more
first time
aggressive.
we've really seen them interrogating somebody? Because usually it's Tanner going off on these
Yeah.
people there. But
Yep.
we see Giles and Tribeca kind of taking their hand at the interrogation reins.
Yeah.
And well, the guy died, so that's probably not a reason that they.
know.
Why
Yeah.
they do it. That's why
Yeah.
they leave it to Tanner.
exactly.
Get a little
one.
scared, don't die. So
And we never talked about it, but his full name is DJ Tanner. Is that supposed to be like from Full House? I always think that every time I say
Yeah.
DJ Tanner, like the oldest sister in the show. I don't know.
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. That's hilarious. I wonder. I don't know.
Maybe.
the Angie
maybe a
Tribeca
reference.
universe.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
Exactly.
So they get called out of the interrogation room, not because the guy's been shot with an arrow. They don't realize that at all. But they end up meeting Lori Partridge, who's from the Fish and Game Division, which I did like this, that it feels like the Fish and Game Division, that's almost like this universe's FBI. That seems like the big leagues. You get in
Yeah.
the Fish and Game Division, man, you fit the big leagues right there.
Which Angie Tribeca tried to get into the fishing game and was up for that promotion and didn't get it. And so had to settle for the LAPD.
Yes. And I did like that scene, though, because as she offends Angie Tribeca, she wants to take a swing at her. It's not worth it. People are stopping her in succession, and everybody else is individually getting worked up about something that Lori Partridge is saying to them, even up to when Hoffman gets a little mad, which I there you go. Gonna hear about the dog.
Poor
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yeah, but we found out there is a multi-million-dollar ferret ring happening here in California.
And it
I
could
didn't-
actually be happening right now in real life.
It
So
literally
we
could
don't
be
know.
happening.
Mark, how close are we to real-life situations here with this multi-million-dollar ferret ring?
We are literally on the precipice of danger.
Oh my gosh! Oh, whew. This is truly a rip
Did
from the
you
headlines.
try to get one after the pet store turned you down?
No, I just did research before
Oh.
and found out that they were illegal.
And then just didn't go further. You're
then-
smart. You're a
Yeah,
smart
good.
guy.
What else? I wonder if there's any other illegal animals.
I don't know. I'm
You
not
don't want to go
looking
into
to
that
get
dark
them.
belly of the ferret underworld there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I don't know if you can come back from that. That's terrible. So and Lori Partridge wants to take the ferret out of there, but then we get to see Shoals in action though. She hears this whole conversation going on, then bumps into Shoals, and then bumps into Partridge, and then comes back with the ferret. And I did like that they want to know how did she do this, and they replay that scene. And I did like the nice little slow motion retake of how she ended up lifting up that ferret from Partridge.
Oh yeah, because you always see in shows too, when people pickpocket and they take the wallet and all that. It's like, how did you take their phone or their wallet without them feeling it and stuff? So they really went into it, the detail that went into those milliseconds.
Yes.
And I also loved that she sort of became the hero in a sense of the episode, which she hasn't normally been so much. Like she actually really
Pretty
just
much
helped.
the side character up until
Yeah, exactly. In this point, she like really helped out the team and actually getting that ferret back for them.
And,
So-
but then they also took a moment to put some lipstick on, get a
I
kiss
know.
from the cop.
Who would want to kiss that guy after he throws up all the time? I mean, that was the first thing I was thinking.
Hey,
but
she's into it.
Was that
Yeah.
puking cop, or I think that was cop in the elevator cop, right? Wasn't it?
I think it was. I thought it was puking cop. Has he puked before? I wasn't.
Everybody's puked on the show. So, I mean, he may have puked before. He may
Yeah.
have been the puking cop. We can just call all of them the puking
Yeah,
cops.
regardless, she stole a smooch from him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
And then some advertising there, putting the Pop-Tarts in the case.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. To flashback as well, as I know Michael pointed out from last episode there, Commissioner Bigfish, a little Dorito shot out.
Little Doritos was in there as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I try to think back now to other big series, and I think there was. I don't know. I wonder if we're making too big a deal of all the advertising, because I feel like has there been advertising? Maybe we're just.
Right now, I
Looking
think this
at
is
it?
just like product placement, like very subtle. But before, like the first two episodes
couple
with Ford
episodes.
and Snickers, it was really pretty intense.
Yeah, it was very prominent. And now you're just seeing just a little bit. No one talks about it, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, I feel like since they aired commercial free, I don't know if that was part of the deal that they knew ahead of time that these are going to probably maybe air commercial free, so find out a way you can work product placement into it.
Yeah.
And they just kind of went and did that for the first couple ones, but I don't know if that was the case.
I don't know. Well, it's working because I want a Pop-Tart really bad
I
now.
know.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah,
There you
give me
go.
some Pop-Tarts
All
and
right.
Doritos after
Yes.
the show.
Favorite kind of Pop-Tart?
Just the regular strawberry.
Really?
Yeah, love it.
Oh, it's not.
And I don't even like to toast it. I just like to eat it.
I'm with you on that
Yeah,
one.
I don't like it.
I feel
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I like to warm up my Pop-Tarts. I usually go like the brown sugar cinnamon.
Yeah, that is the best flavor. You got it, Frank.
Yes, that's right.
That
There you
is
go.
it.
Yes.
She's like, you got it. You got it.
Michael, you're not a Pop-Tart guy?
Oh, I'm a big Pop-Tart. Hot Fudge Sundae.
Oh.
Yeah, and you don't know. I don't think I've ever actually had a Hot Fudge Sundae Pop-Tart actually toasted.
Yeah.
I think I've always just eaten it regular.
That's probably going to be a good one you should toast. I'm sure that would,
maybe.
like the fudge and, I don't know.
I'm going to Ralph's after this. I'll
Yeah.
check it out.
Let me know.
some
Let me
ice
know the
cream.
details later, right?
It was a couple years ago. I had a chance to go. I was in New York. I went to a pop-up Pop-Tart store right there near Times Square.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's
they,
so fun.
They had a cool like little Pop-Tart machine that you could go in, like all these conveyor belts kind of swirl
wow.
around. They pick all these different flavors out for you. You can make your own custom box of Pop-Tarts.
That is awesome.
It was really
Can
cool,
this come
guys.
to Los Angeles?
I know.
Because you just got me so excited. That sounds like a blast. I would have such a day there.
It was awesome.
I live there. How did I not know about this? That is so cool.
missed
Right
out.
in
Yes.
Times Square. This
It was just right off of Times Square.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my
So I think
gosh.
there for like 2 or 3 months.
Oh,
I would say
okay.
it's one of
Yeah.
those stores that could probably only survive in Times Square.
Possibly. A lot of other places, too. Big cities. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Maybe.
Somewhere like Hollywood Highland, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. There's
there
another
you go.
Times Square sort
Here,
of.
right across
Yeah.
the street from the AfterBuzz Studios, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
If you're listening to this and know of a Pop-Tart flavor that you think we're missing out on, I know they're always coming up with new flavors. Hit us up.
Oh yes.
Love to hear it.
Let us know.
There's
Definitely.
so many. I can't even keep track of all of them.
No, well, especially when they get to the seasonal flavors. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Pumpkin
We can
pie.
talk about
Yes.
Pop-Tarts
I
for
know,
days.
I know,
All
guys.
days,
We can
guys.
show on
Yes.
Pop-Tarts.
Alrighty.
So we take the ferret down, and we finally see Dr. Edelweiss again. So thank goodness we get Alfred Molina back for this episode, and he comes out in his little Stephen Hawking chair.
Which I appreciated that he said that it was almost a reason that he was in the chair because he thought it would be more convenient. And he was
Yes.
like, oh, this isn't more convenient at all. So I appreciated that it wasn't just for no reason. He actually thought, hey, this would be cool if it just said what I thought. No, it didn't work.
Which I can't imagine like this. So you're basically just like, I don't want to really talk to people anymore, nor walk anymore. So I'll just get in this chair and let something else do the talking for me. Like, you think that his life would be that much easier?
Telepathy and technology, 15 years, 20 years. It's going to happen.
But I think you're right, though. This is the first time we found an explanation for why he's coming in with all these different things or issues with him.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we actually figured. I like that as well. I appreciated that too. Yeah.
So they look at the ferret and they find out that the ferret is pregnant. Of course, they have six babies in there, 6 little pups, I guess, whatever the appropriate term for ferret litter. Yes. They also find a cufflink in there with the initials FB there, and they figure out that it's for helmet front butt.
Front butt.
Yes.
That's what he says. Or front butt.
Front butt.
That's what we like to say.
Yeah.
Front butt, not front butt.
Yes, played by great comedian Keegan-Michael Key. Yes, from Key and Peele.
Yep.
Plays that there. The great little affectation that he puts on there for that. And they find out that there's actually a big poker tournament coming on. He's trying to act like he's there for the animals. He's not doing some kind of weird, illicit ferret underground ring.
Which we also learned that obviously we know that it's a big ring, and now we know that how much it costs. There was $193,000 and some change worth of ferrets.
Yes, ish.
Ish.
Yeah, ish. That's a crazy amount of money. I'm sure there's some animal. I don't know what the average cost of a ferret runs, Mark. Do you know this?
I don't think
No,
he does.
sir.
No, sir.
It was a while ago.
Because some animals, it's crazy amount of money. I mean, different breeds of dogs.
Yeah.
You're looking at spending, several $100s up into the thousands. So, it could happen.
Don't get into it. It's illegal. It's illegal. Remember that.
All right.
I'm gonna quit my day job.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to Mark a lot on this episode. But Mark, what is your bottom line? How much would you pay if you could get a ferret?
Oh God. I wouldn't pay more than an average pet, But for specialty stuff like that, hedgehogs and the like, it's usually in the hundreds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
And if you want like a really good breed, I would suppose thousands. I don't know.
Really?
I am not an expert. I am a guy who Googled one time.
No, that to us that makes you an expert here
Yeah.
on the Angie Tribeca After Show. So
Just
that's
look at a rat or a mouse or something. Oh my gosh.
Somebody tweet me with a picture of a cute animal, just for the cute animal purpose. And I also want to know how much you paid for your animal, because I'm interested to see how much people pay for animals. I'm looking at getting a dog probably someday. So, but also I just want a couple pictures of cute animals at Michael Clous TV. Tweet me.
There you go. Oh yeah, and Michael will share all these cute photos with us. So
I will.
It's a win-win for everybody here.
We'll see him next week.
Yes.
Share your pet photos.
So they're running a poker tournament, but the entry fee to get in this poker tournament is $50,000, which on a cop salary, that's not something you have hanging around. So they got to figure out, they got to go back to the lieutenant and say, hey, we need $50,000. Can the police department help us out with this? And
Easy solution.
Yeah, the one solution is like if we turned off the police department for one day, we could raise that money. So they try to put it into action. They just they switch off the power for the police department. Everything goes into chaos. Windows are broken. People are running around screaming. Guns are firing.
Yeah.
They turn it back on. The window fixes itself.
Repaired.
Which I thought,
That reminded me of that movie, The Purge.
Yes.
Of one day you can sort of just do whatever you want, and sort of chaos ensues and breaks. You know what I mean? And so that's what it really reminded me of, that whole scene there.
Yeah. But they find out now with if they don't have the turning off the police department is a viable option. There's something that's just a little out of reach. And so they do this nice little scene where they reach up above and they find the swear jar.
Finally comes in handy. You always wonder what it's being spent on.
Very true.
Now you know.
And they put a whole $1 in too, not just quarters.
No. Like $50,000. That jar did not look like it was going to hold $50,000 to me.
Yeah. They're all $100 bills.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Oof, yeah, they're really serious about their swearing at the police department there. Yes, very much so. So they find $50,000 in there. Well, actually, they're $1 short, and I felt like this episode and the last episode was the first time we get a little swearing in the show.
Yeah.
Angie,
Little language.
Yeah, we get Angie throwing out a little swear word in both episodes there. Yeah, so I was like, oh, those are two noticeable differences that I hadn't seen in the previous 4 episodes.
And is it interesting that it's Angie is the one that's doing that? It's not any of the guys. So I don't know.
You're right. Well, she wants to be a guy.
She wants to
Yeah,
be a
she
man.
does. Maybe that's what she thinks she has to do. Talk a little bit more dirty.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I mean, I guess on a cable show like that, you're allowed one of those words per episode. So we burned through those, which then comes back to haunt us later when Angie when Giles, who says he's a great poker player, loses and they need another $50,000 to get them involved, Tribeca calls back and calls to Anna and says, hey, start swearing in this jar, see if you can earn $50,000. We just get a string of beeps from him and from Hoffman.
And from Hoffman.
Yeah.
Yes, like that. I like that.
I loved Hoffman's part. Yay! Even if he is swearing.
Nothing better than hearing a dog being censored. That's,
exactly.
that's fantastic.
That whole series of events was, I don't want to say completely copying Casino Royale, but very, very similar.
Well, but what I enjoy is when they go around the room to see who's playing this game.
Yes.
And we've got a construction worker, we've got a rabbi, we've got a
male guy.
a cowboy, and an Indian, all playing this. Then we also find out why Lori Partridge has such a hatred for Angie Tribeca. We find out back when they were in the academy, there in the yearbook, Angie Tribeca was the best at everything, and Lori Partridge was most likely to be overshadowed by Angie Tribeca. So that's the reason that she really is, kind of has a bee in her bonnet in regards to Angie Tribeca. How about you guys? When you're growing up, did you have any rivals or anything in school that you felt like always did a little bit better than you?
No, I never felt like that. Didn't have any rivals.
Kind of a little bit with softball. I used to play, and it was like the parents were more into it than the girls, so they were kind of always having the girls compete against each other. But for the most part, I mean, nothing too crazy.
It was the adults, not the kids.
It was more the adults than the kids.
The adults
yeah.
are the problem.
Okay. In your high school yearbooks, were you ever nominated for anything, like the most likely to or anything like that?
We didn't do that in my high school. We were too big of a school, so we didn't do like homecoming. We didn't do any.
Really?
You didn't do homecoming?
Well, like homecoming king and queen and all that stuff.
You didn't do that?
No, or
How
prom
big were
king
you?
and queen. Like we had like 730 kids I graduated with. And so yeah,
Because we had 600, but we still did all of that. I can't believe you didn't do it.
You
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't do it. So no.
Are you upset? Do you feel like you missed out on?
I mean, I've seen
everything?
enough television shows and movies to sort of get the gist, and then take that with a grain of salt for what it actually was. So I think I understand what happened.
Yeah, but then how do you know who's truly the coolest of the cool?
I
Unless
mean,
you
I
vote
just
for
looked
them.
in the mirror every day and I figured it out.
Nowadays, everybody gets a ribbon anyways, so.
Oh, that's
I
a
know,
participation.
you're right,
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. You went to school.
Homecoming participation. Here you go.
No, I never went to my prom. I didn't go to that, but because I remember my physics teacher always said, like, why spend that money going to prom when you could buy a gun? And that was his little. And so not that I
So
took
did you
that.
buy a
hard.
gun?
I didn't
I
buy
was
a
gonna say, I didn't know you had a gun.
No, I didn't buy a gun either. I just worked at the drugstore that night instead.
That was very aggressive statement of him to make.
Yes,
to you.
like why go to prom when you could use that money and buy a gun?
Yeah.
Like, oof,
All
right.
right.
You
Okay,
should at
Professor.
least went to the after parties. That's better than the prom. Senior year, no one even went to the prom. They just went to the parties after.
What a lonely prom that must
Yeah,
have been.
right. Aw, poor prom.
The one guy that does show up, like, I'm just gonna go stag and see who I meet there. Nobody else is there. Oh,
Aw,
Yes.
womp, like Giles. Womp, womp,
Yeah.
womp.
That would be Giles.
So Lori Partridge though feels like, all right, Tribeca, you've already in 2 days have gotten closer to this case than we have in the 6 months that we've been doing this. So she gives Tribeca the $50,000 to stake them back into the game. And so we get a nice little, basically it just comes down to Tribeca and front butt eliminate everybody else, and it just gets down to a one-on-one thing between the two of them there. And we look like Tribeca wins. Look at that.
Pulls out, which was tricky. Another one of those things where I didn't see it coming, when she said I have two pair.
Yeah.
And it happens to be both nines.
Yeah.
Four of a kind.
I like
Yes.
that joke. I thought that was very
Yeah,
clever.
I didn't see it
very
coming.
clever.
So I'm glad in these past two episodes they've really surprised us a little bit.
Yeah. And but Front Butt doesn't want to go easily though. But we do see that everybody he does realize that everybody is somebody in the law enforcement there or fish and game division there, because I did like Lori Partridge. It's just like in a sequined kind of bedazzled kind of outfit there, which I thought was really sharp. But they end up everybody shoots each other with trank guns, and they all just pass out. You have the right to
Very
remain
clever.
sleepy. Yes, and they fall down. Which I did like that they fell down and they were spooning.
They were
That
all
was
cuddling. We're
yeah.
gonna fall asleep. We're gonna be comfortable.
There you go. How romantic.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So they end up. Yeah. They capture Front Butt. They shut down this illicit ferret ring, and then Tribeca and Partridge have a little moment there where Partridge says like, "I'm sorry about all this. Hey, can we just be friends and all that?" And they have that little moment there when you're saying goodbye.
Yeah,
you kind of misread the signals. You go in for a
awkward.
kiss.
Very awkward. Have you guys ever done that, or has it happened to you where someone's tried to kiss you and you're like, no, I don't want to be kissed, or?
I don't know. I just always give the cheek. I'm just hi.
I feel like that happens to you for women more than guys. I don't think. Speaking for you, Michael, I don't feel like if we're in that situation, I don't know. I've never been in a situation where I'm like, oh, no, thanks.
You're always like, yeah, I like kisses. Give me a kiss.
Yeah.
I know our
Pucker
guys just
up.
like, I'll kiss anyone.
Fuck her up.
Except for Grandma when she's coming in with the wet kisses.
Yeah.
Then you try to go for the cheek. She pulls you right in.
You're not going to get away from grandma. Especially if you want Christmas money and
That's
birthday
true.
and yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end of Ferret Royale. How did you guys feel about this episode?
I liked it. I thought it was fun. I think we saw a bunch of different things happening. I think it was very clever with some of the jokes. Happy, as we talked about, product placement isn't so in your face anymore. I think it's just there. And yeah, our little Pop Hoffman, he got a little bit more shine. So I'm very happy if he's more in it.
I like how the past 2 episodes, Jay has gotten tougher. We talked about that earlier, that he has come into his own, where before you kind of looked at him as maybe not as much of a, not a wimp, but he did seem like he was, not as strong in this episode with the interrogation and with other things. He's kind of standing his own. And I appreciate that. A little more respect.
Exactly. I think Angie's just wearing off on him a little bit. So I do like that. And like I said, I kind of like the fact that it seems like Angie starts off like all tough in the beginning of no matter what episode it is. And then by the end, she kind of, calms down a little bit and is like, oh, maybe I could have kids, or maybe, that's not so bad. You see that deep down she really wants more, but I think she's just hurt. She's just wounded. She's just hurt.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up with a couple quick predictions here. We've already gone through
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Oh.
There you go. Mark on the quick predictions beat there. We've already halfway, as Michael was saying, we're more than halfway through this season right now. So any last predictions here as we're racing towards the end of season 1?
Who called 7 for the kiss? Who called week 7 for the kiss?
I think I did.
Was that you? So next episode.
It better happen, guys, or I'm going to have egg on my face.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kiss may happen. I think that I kind of want to. I predict that Tanner may get some type of love interest in the next few episodes with maybe one of the person they're chasing down. So maybe he's gonna have another companion.
I'm gonna go with that and say that Hoffman finds someone when they're out, a little poodle.
There you go.
Oh, wow. I think Dr. Scholes, I think maybe something will go on with her and one of the other cops or something.
Oh, well, I mean, we already saw the beginnings tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
So we're doing love predictions, everyone.
That's right.
That's
It's
what we
love
just
predictions
did.
here on the Angie Tribeca
Love
After
prediction
Show.
night.
All right, that brings us to another end of another exciting episode of the Angie Tribeca After Show, breaking down 2 hot episodes. We'll be back next week breaking down another hot 2 episodes. But in the meantime, you can continue the conversation.
Real quick, I teased last week that I would say what I got charged for.
Oh, yeah.
And it was cliff jumping on private property.
Oh,
So
wow.
I will be posting a picture on my Twitter
Oh, yes.
and my Instagram.
Uh-oh.
So
Bad
with a
boy.
little story
Follow
detail.
that. Yes. All right.
Was it worth it? You feel like it was?
Oh, absolutely. See, it cost me about $175 for the charge and court stuff. And my cousin told me immediately after that, she's like, oh, you'll easily get that much out of the story.
Oh,
Easily
good.
have.
There you go.
Easily have.
And all that social media following. Look at
Yeah.
all that. Yes.
Exactly.
Check it out. I'll be posting.
There you go. Speaking of social media, where can they find you, Nadine?
Nadine DP3.
Michael Clous TV on Twitter and on Instagram at
You
the only
were
MC.
thinking about that.
I always had to go for it there.
You've got great content. Don't forget that. We got people who want
That's
to see
right.
these photos. Yes.
Twitter at Michael Clous TV, Instagram at the only MC. Go there. Follow.
Yep. Facebook and Twitter, Nikki Preston TV, and Instagram, Nikki.Preston.
There you go. And you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. Check me out here later on tonight here for the, I'm doing a bunch of them. The Superstore, the Hell's Kitchen, and the X-Files after shows, guys.
He's got a cot in the corner.
Yeah, there you go. In the meantime, though, make sure you like us on Facebook, like us on iTunes. 5 stars, guys. Everybody likes 5 stars. We love 5
Absolutely.
stars. Yes, absolutely. And we've got a lot of great shows here on the AfterBuzz Network. So if you're a fan of Angie Tribeca, I'm sure you'd be a fan of many other great shows that all of us do, or just other shows you might be interested in. Check them all out here. And we'll see you next time here on the Angie Tribeca After Show here on AfterBuzz TV.
Adios.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.